Yeah, what do you think about his fight against Rico Verhoeven?
I think, you know, he's going to go out there and do whatever he wanted to do. You know, I think Rico going to be tough at first, but I think Usyk, with his experience, he's gonna figure him out fairly early, and I don't know. We're going to see for a good fight.
Do you think there's a lot of pressure on Usyk? Because he's got a lot to lose against a guy who's you know, what, never really boxed before.
He used to the pressure. You got to understand, like, Usyk been having a lot of pressure on him since the Olympics, since winning the Olympics, since, you know, going up to heavyweight and beating Fury, and all the things that he's been doing in the ring. So he's used to the pressure. It's no pressure for him.
Verhoeven is not as accomplished a boxer as Douglas or Rockmar. So do these odds suggest that Usyk is seen as more beatable than Tyson or Lewis?
It's a good question. You know, it's funny, right? Even though Usyk's 39, I feel like he's at the top of his game.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any slippage at all. I feel like and if you see the photos, it looks like Usyk put on a lot of muscle. I mean, this guy looks like a tank right now.
It's true.
Rico don't got a shot.
No shot.
Front, man. He ain't got no shot. It's ridiculous.
But what do you think? Is Usyk do you see Usyk as vulnerable?
Usyk, man, I feel like he's at his best right now.
What does he want to do in this fight? It's up to Usyk. Does he want to do it, and how fast does he want to do it? Does he want to do it when the bell rings or go after? Then he breaks the guy down. I think the over-under is 3.5, right? Something like that. Then he breaks the guy down. He's got a shot for the under. Otherwise, it's going to be over.
I think Usyk loses this fight in Egypt.
The Alexander Usyk versus Rico Verhoeven clash is officially a few hours away, with predictions flooding in from across the boxing and combat sports world. As two dominant champions from different disciplines prepare to collide, debate and excitement continue to grow ahead of their showdown.
I don't know. With his experience, I don't know. I never seen the guy fight, so I can't testify to, you know, what he's capable of doing. But I know Usyk, and I know what level he's on. And I think he's up for it. He's going to put on an amazing show come Saturday night. And I just wish them both the best. And, you know, hopefully both of them can leave the ring safely and sound.
Boxing commentator Adam Smith expects Alexander Usyk to dominate the fight and finish it on his own timing. Smith said, "I think everyone is right in saying Usyk will win whenever he wants to win. It will probably be somewhere between rounds 5 and 7. Continuing with one of the most outspoken voices, Teddy Atlas makes his stance very clear. He does not see an upset in this matchup, pointing directly to the massive gap in pure boxing experience. In his view, Verhoeven's kickboxing dominance does not automatically translate into success inside a boxing ring at the elite level.
But we're not gonna see an upset. You know, Verhoeven is a legendary kickboxer, but he's had one pro boxing fight, and he won
in 2014.
Yeah, against a handpicked guy. So he's 1-0, and he's not going to be 2-0.
At the same time, he acknowledges Verhoeven's athleticism and toughness, but still reinforces a key point. Elite boxing operates in a completely different technical universe. From his perspective, Usyk is operating on a level that makes this a very difficult stylistic transition to survive.
He's a big, strong guy, Verhoeven. He's in good shape. He's physical. He's game. You know, he's experienced in the kickboxing realm. You don't take anyone for granted, but he doesn't figure to have any chance against Usyk. And Usyk is a serious guy, so I can't imagine like we were thinking about when, you know, Tyson was fighting with Jake Paul. And
Anthony Crolla calls it a wild matchup, even more surprising than Ngannou versus Fury or Joshua. He expects Usyk to control the fight with ease and finish it by the midway point. Anthony Crolla stated, "It's a crazy, crazy fight. Probably more crazy than Francis Ngannou against Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua. I think Usyk will just have a bit of fun being the showman that it is. He could do it early, but he wraps it up by the halfway mark." Meanwhile, Mike Coppinger highlights how Usyk continues to look like an elite force with no visible decline in sharpness or timing. He also points out a noticeable physical evolution, suggesting Usyk appears more muscular and physically imposing heading into this bout.
Even though Usyk's 39, I feel like he's at the top of his game.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any slippage at all. I feel like and if you see the photos, it looks like Usyk put on a lot of muscle. I mean, this guy looks like a tank right now.
It's true.
Rico don't got a shot.
However, Mike doesn't completely dismiss Verhoeven. Coppinger emphasizes the kickboxing champion's long reign, composure, and size, arguing that those attributes could translate better into boxing than many expect on paper.
When you're a guy that's so accomplished like Usyk, and then you're fighting a guy that is only his second pro fight, and he's doing a bunch of punching from weird angles, it could be a little embarrassing because it's not the same, it's not the basic boxing style. Yeah, so you could probably get hit with weird shots that are coming from all crazy angles, him stepping off. So it could probably present complications for Usyk.
Richie Woodhall expects Alexander Usyk to overcome Verhoeven after a competitive start, noting the Dutch fighter's early power threat. Woodhall said, "I think Usyk will win the fight. It will be late or on points, but if I had choose, then I'll probably go with a late stoppage. Verhoeven will be in the fight early on and he will be dangerous as he can hit very hard, but Usyk will do what he does. He will work it out and eventually take him apart and stop him late." Adding another layer, Tom Aspinall views Rico Verhoeven as somewhat overlooked in this discussion. While still leaning toward Usyk as the superior fighter overall, he stresses that Verhoeven's size and raw power cannot be ignored. In his view, that single moment of impact is what keeps this matchup from being entirely one-sided on paper.
What do you make of the fight between Alexander Usyk and Rico Verhoeven?
I mean, I think Rico's getting wrote off.
Did you come across him at Peter Fury's gym?
Listen, I've been training with Rico for the last 10 years, so I'm obviously pretty Rico biased. Rico's a good friend of mine, but he's a big man. He's had a lot of fights. Fair enough, they're fighting a different sport, but he can, like, if he hits him, it could be over. Do I think that Rico's a better boxer than Usyk? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that at all. But I think that he's getting wrote off and he's definitely got a chance of winning.
Shifting the tone slightly, Chris Arreola focuses on physical strength and presence, but ultimately expects Usyk to take over early. He leans toward a stoppage, believing the skill gap will show quickly once the fight settles.
First of all, you can't teach size. You can't teach 6'5", 270. You can't teach that, all right? Second of all, whether it's kickboxing or boxing, he still has a pedigree of fighting. He knows what it's like to get hit. And those kicks ain't no joke. I'd rather get punched than kicked. Right. So he must have a good chin or good body work. So I'm looking forward just to see what Usyk could do against a lesser opponent. You probably should end up within 2 to 3 rounds.
Similarly, Shane McGuigan strongly argues that boxing and kickboxing are fundamentally different at the highest level. He believes that pure boxing specialization gives Usyk a decisive technical advantage that is extremely difficult to overcome.
Yeah, I feel like there's levels to this game. As a kickboxer, he's always going to be up against the guy who's a master at boxing. I don't think he's got a chance at all.
Former WBC light middleweight champion Sergio Mora expects Alexander Usyk's movement and fluidity to overwhelm the larger, less mobile Verhoeven. Sergio stated, "I think Usyk will be too fluid for the stiff and big Verhoeven. I've got Usyk by knockout in 9. Boxing presenter Aid Oladipo believes that while Verhoeven's size and toughness could trouble most heavyweights, he is still facing one of the greatest in the division in Alexander Usyk. Oladipo said, "I genuinely believe, given Verhoeven's size and toughness, he could cause any other heavyweight in the division problems. I'm not saying he'd beat them, but he could certainly cause them problems. Unfortunately for him, he is fighting one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. I think this goes as long as Usyk wants it to go. I'll go for a corner stoppage in round 5. On the other side, Eddie Hall draws from personal experience training alongside Verhoeven and seeing him up close. He suggests people underestimate just how physically rare of an athlete Rico is, especially in terms of size and athletic output.
Well, I think win, draw, or lose, he's going to shock the world. I mean, everyone's written him off.
Yeah.
I've had the privilege to spend quite a bit of time with Rico. I've trained with Rico. I've been to watch him fight, ringside. He has got to be, hand on heart, the most frightening person on the planet. And even like top fighters say that, like Tom Aspinall wouldn't fight Rico in kickboxing. That's how scary a human being he is. For Tom Aspinall to say, I wouldn't fight Rico, and I could see it in his face, like he genuinely meant it. I think Rico is the scariest man on the planet.
Dave Allen echoes a similar sentiment based on sparring experience, confirming Verhoeven's legitimate punching power and strength. However, he also makes it clear that physical tools alone do not bridge the gap to elite championship boxing.
As Tyson Fury, he's beat everybody. It don't get no more deserving for a fight like this than Alex.
Not if you beat a Fury. He doesn't think it is a give me at all. I can tell you that now. I'm fascinated to hear from him later on.
Do you know what, Anna? I think you're right, but and Peter's a really good coach. One of the most honourable men I've met in boxing and I've had the luxury of spending time with. But this is a fight where Alexander Usyk, when you look at them resumes and them records on that list, he is the one fighter who's defeated them all.
Yep.
And let's not forget.
Meanwhile, Eddie Hearn focuses on the difficulty of transitioning between combat sports at the highest level. He emphasizes that stepping into elite boxing immediately against a pound-for-pound level fighter is an enormous leap in class and experience.
I think it's a massive mountain to climb. I think whenever you are changing disciplines and you come in against the best in the division, it's always going to be a hard night's work. You're not just doing that against the best in the division, you're doing that against a pound-for-pound #1. But in this division, as we saw with Ngannou against Fury, and you know, the difference is these guys can really punch, and if they land clean, there's going to be a problem, and Verhoeven can really punch.
Johnny Nelson adds a broader strategic angle, suggesting Usyk's current position in boxing leaves limited meaningful challenges that also generate massive financial upside. In that context, crossover fights like this become both business-driven and legacy-driven opportunities.
Would you have accepted someone from kickboxing fighting you for your world title while you were holding it, with him never having competed at that level?
Well, you've got to look at Alexander, what he's done. He's wiped the floor with everybody. He's established himself at the top there. So now you look at him and you'll think financially, will he be in a better position than Tyson Fury? No, not in my opinion. Anthony Joshua? No, not in my opinion. The big money fights aren't out there for him, so he's got to do something. He's got to put himself in a position where he's got to win, because he's proved he's top draw. So in this fight here, I think it creates interest, intrigue. I'm quite sure there's a healthy pay packet at the end of it. This is now business for him. This is now because he's thinking, I've proved it all to you, so I've got to make as much as I can. Because remember, the talk was Deontay Wilder for a short while, because he wants to get all the scalps. He wants to look at the biggest names out there with the least amount of risk, and you can't blame him.
Paul Smith expects the fight to remain relatively straightforward, acknowledging Verhoeven's power and size, but insisting elite boxing requires far more than physical attributes alone.
Can you see a world where this is a challenge for Usyk, or is it just a simple case of he does him when he wants to?
I think it should be relatively straightforward, but it's combat sport, it's boxing. At the end of the day, he's got two arms, he can punch, he's a banger in the kickboxing. He's heavy-handed apparently, and he's got a lot of power, and he's working with Peter Fury, so he will be a bit unorthodox, but I think as soon as Usyk gets to grips with it and eases into it, it should be relatively straightforward. I said last week on here, I'm not putting Dave Allen down. There's so many other factors that have got to go your way to have a chance in it, and just having two arms and being able to punch and being in the heavyweight division isn't one of them. But I just think, yeah, there's too much at stake for Usyk to take his eye off the ball and let it slip. He's a consummate professional. He's always done it the right way, and I just can't see anything but a relatively straightforward win for him.
Former boxer Stacey Copeland expects Verhoeven's kickboxing background to bring some unpredictability early on, but believes Usyk's ring IQ will eventually take over. Stacey said, Verhoeven could be a little unpredictable because he's coming from a different discipline, but I think Usyk will work him out and get the win. Liam Harrison stresses the difficulty of switching between combat sports, arguing that kickboxing habits don't directly translate into boxing success. He gives Usyk the clear edge based on long-term boxing refinement.
Well, that'd be wild, wouldn't it? I think Rico's gonna have to boot him in leg or something. If he wants to get any sort of advantage over him, no one can beat Usyk in a boxing fight. I don't care who you are. No one on this planet. He's the best heavyweight on this planet, and he's the best heavyweight of his era. If guys like Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua can't put a dent in him, no one's going to be able to put a dent in him, I'm afraid. So yeah, Rico will have to throw a few leg kicks if he wants to get one over on him there. But again, Rico's a legend of kickboxing. guys like that who have paved the way in kickboxing and have been the goats of their generation, they deserve to get these paydays and these sort of chances to showcase what they can do and just to promote themselves and to get some big money and stuff. So yeah, it'd be nice to see, to be fair.
Spencer Oliver, however, highlights that Verhoeven sees this as a rare opportunity at heavyweight boxing relevance. He notes the work done in camp and suggests Rico is entering the fight better prepared than many assume.
Look, he recognises the opportunity, and that's what this game is. It's opportunity. It's heavyweight boxing. The kid can whack. He's a big old lump, and he's going to go out there. He's trained for 6 months for this, believe it or not, under the watchful eye of Peter Fury. You know, he's good with his hands anyway, and he gets that opportunity.
Chris Oliver, on the other hand, still views Verhoeven as a clear underdog. While respecting his durability and size, he points out that Usyk has consistently handled big punchers without being significantly affected.
Verhoeven, I think that he would probably be a bigger underdog than Dave Allen was against Hergovich, that's for sure. Like, it's a different discipline. Yeah, he's a big old lump.
He's an impressive figure, isn't he?
Yeah, he's an impressive figure, but he talks about size being a massive advantage for him, and when he lands that punch, none of the fighters before have been able to land that punch on Alexander Usyk, and when they have landed, you know, like, there's been no effect. So look.
Finally, Kelvin Henderson shifts focus to the commercial side, explaining that crossover fights often struggle for mainstream traction in some markets, despite global interest when elite names are involved.
Usyk just recently announced his next opponent, Rico Verhoeven, I guess. I don't know much about the guy, but apparently he's a huge kickboxing star, kickboxing champion. I'm not sure if it's a fight that the Americans or the American entertainment value is going to really buy, but apparently he's a well-known name across the world in kickboxing. So we're going to see. I mean, it's hard for me to go against Usyk in this, man, just because Usyk is just a boxer. Maybe it's just a big PR money grab to afford the purse that Usyk is well deserved. But I don't know. Of course, I got to go with Usyk right now. What y'all think? Let me know.
When everything is broken down, this matchup ultimately becomes a clash between elite boxing craftsmanship and heavyweight physicality. Usyk brings world-class technical mastery, movement, and experience at the highest level, while Verhoeven offers size, power, and a proven championship mindset from kickboxing. As opinions remain divided, one thing is clear, and the outcome will depend on whether raw physical tools can disrupt a fundamentally more refined boxing system. That wraps up the full breakdown. Now the real question is simple. Do fans believe Usyk's elite boxing skill shuts this down? Or does Verhoeven's size and power make this more competitive than expected?